Screw it, we're doing it live. We'll wing it. We'll figure it out. I don't know if you guys can see this. Can we watch ourselves? Look at this crap. Alright. Streaming software. Oh, there we go. Oh, the page just lit up. There we are. Alright. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a screenshot competition. This is the first time I've done one of these. I don't really know where to begin. We have a few submissions that I have downloaded over here. They're in this. Although I have them downloaded, I guess I don't really need them downloaded. I just need them over here. Either way, we'll go from the top. We have submissions by a bunch of people, 7 people. Here's your competition. This is not exactly formal. Honestly, we can just go from the top. I have a judging form here. The link is in the description where you can watch me judge people. Hopefully editing is turned off. I don't actually know. But yeah, we'll just start from the beginning. We'll see how this goes, and I'll periodically check on this. I thought it was going to be a streaming recording. No, this is online, ladies and gentlemen. This is online. You can check me out. I'm on the internet. Bonk. Hey guys, I know a bunch of you guys are streaming Among Us, so I want you guys to vote out John. Okay, don't actually do that. You might get salty. Okay, anyway, without further ado, we do have a bit of judging to do. You know, I'm gonna do it like this. Like this, maybe? I'm gonna get rid of that because that's unnecessary. And for starters, okay, first screenshot is forging ahead. So, forging ahead. Hi everybody. Make an announcement. Oh yeah, I should make an announcement. Alright, I am live on YouTube. Oh, hey John. Okay, so let's go find the forging ahead. And it isn't properly labeled, that's gonna be. It's just DC. Alright. This one. Or, more accurately, I'll grab it out of here so I can look at it in its own window. Here we go. Bam! Forging ahead. This is a cool looking screenshot. I mean, it's a simple looking area. Although, do I recognize it? I think I might. That might be the thing. I'm gonna have to read the description and see if there's anything here. Not playing Among Us. I'm putting cannons in my ship. Oh, okay. So. The ARIUM connection, or ARIUM connection, is what connects the American rails with the outside world. Oh, okay, it's a series. On a crisp spring day, as the summer nears, CSX Q92917, a manifest from Atlanta Yard to the TER's Hopewell Yard, diverges on Turb Pocket Division's main number 2. Okay, that's a good description. I feel like it's missing the prompt, though. That's kind of an issue. Either way, alright, so starting from the top, as I usually do with these route build competitions, impact is, oh right, sorry, this is by Captain Echo. And I will drop this in if I can copy it out of there. No. What if I do it like this? Nope. Okay, maybe I have to unzip this somewhere. Hold on, let's find a temp folder real quick. Boop. Documents, temp folder, what else is in here? Oh, just junk. I like this already, but I'm not going to get distracted with them yet. So let's do... No, down. I do want to fit it in there. There we go. Forging Ahead by Captain Echo. And now I can look at it a little bit more. So do I submit a picture of anything? What? I don't see my submission in there. Well, there was the 7 submissions. You didn't submit the thing. Okay, so let's grab the scoring, which we'll need to make this into maybe like a table or something to drop in here just to make life easier. But the other thing I can do is just use tabs to get everything lined up. It wouldn't really be that funny if somebody did a dick pic, I think. I feel like that could cause trouble for me. Because I'm experiencing these screenshots for the first time. So maybe don't do that, Graham. Of course, maybe I should mandate a certain resolution so the pictures have to be a certain size. That would preclude Graham from being able to send a dick pic. Anyway. Impact. Let me take a drink, because I'm sorry if I look and sound like hell. I'm very tired. My throat is sore. You know, whatever. This series wasn't abandoned. No. Impact, creativity, construction, composition, content, story, world, relevancy, completeness, and bonus. So, impact. So, I'll start off by saying it's a pretty picture, and I like the ground level sort of thing, but nothing really pops out at me on this picture, especially the fact that it's like, where's the engine? I mean, maybe that gets you points because of the weirdness that it's missing an engine, but you know, it's a decent photograph, although taken from a interesting spot. I just don't know if it has a real significant impact. I mean, this is a colorful line of cars, I'll give it that. So honestly, I'll probably give it, maybe this is being generous, but I'll give it a 4 in impact. 4 out of 10. Do I have the latest submissions? Yeah. Everything I've got is the latest submissions. I had to prune the submissions slightly because Ian submitted 3, but I know that was on, excuse me, I know that was on purpose. Alright, so, now for creativity. Okay, so I cannot discount the fact that this was done off of their own series, and I know a lot of creative thought goes into that. It did submit 3 times. I don't know if that was a bug or what, but I had to prune the submissions, and yours submitted 3 times. So, creativity. So, obviously there's a base amount of points here. Just pretend my submission is the train on the cannon testing barge. Yeah, I should open it up to Minecraft screenshots. But only if they're trains. I didn't see my picture on the listing with all the pics. Well, I don't see your submission in here with the other submissions. So, I assume it didn't go through. Maybe one of Ian's 3 submissions ate your submission. Which, sorry about that. I could reopen it again briefly, but don't, you have to retype everything. Don't worry about it, honestly. This, you know, the things are made up and the points don't matter now. The submissions were closed at 7 o'clock. Anyway, creativity. So, I mean, there's nothing really outrageous about this screenshot. As I've said, it doesn't really have a ridiculous impact, although it is a nice picture. So, but knowing how much went into the submission behind it, knowing how much went into the, you know what, East, let me do this. See if one more shows up. No. Okay. Knowing how much went into the submission behind this, I think I'm going to give it a 6 for creativity. Actually, you know, maybe a 7, because I have talked at length, and that is definitely being generous. But this is the first screenshot of definitely not favoritism. Anyway, construction. So the construction is, so this is, impact and creativity are fairly straightforward. Hello, JP Minor. It's been a while. Construction is the scenery of the setting. Now, that's something that, I'll be honest, it isn't stellar. It's here, but it's stellar. But it isn't stellar. I assume this was done in 2012 because of the age of the track. Those are nice signals and a nice signal bridge, and the cabinet's a nice touch. But you've got no grass. You've got the two-dimensional trees. And while the scene seems complete, we're talking about this. While the scene seems complete, and you've got everything you need, like need, I still feel like a lot of things are missing here, and there's a lot of detail that isn't present when it should be. That is Tane 100%. Okay. Oh right, yeah, no, Tane had. Okay. Either way, nothing is jumping out at me as this is a more modern route. The thing I was looking for is let's switch in. Can't be 12. Those hoppers are Tane assets. Okay, thank you. So it is in Tane. Either way, it doesn't really matter. I was just sort of deducing the track situation. Not that it's bad track, but it doesn't have the the frogs and stuff. So I'm gonna say construction. I'm gonna give construction a. I'm gonna give construction a 5. I think it could have been done better. Maybe that's not being generous enough. All right, so composition, eh? I think this shot is set up fairly well. This is, you've got your subject over to the side. You're looking down the track anyway. Your camera is in an interesting spot. And you've got the trees rising up on both sides. I think this is a very well composed piece, even if it isn't like well processed, So anyway, as for composition, and again, maybe this is generous. I need to get a handle for how we are. This is the first one I've ever judged. I think I'm going to give it an 8. Maybe that's a nice thing. I'll underscore it that this isn't a crazy screenshot. It's good. I like it. But, alright. Overall quality of content being used. So I mentioned the track already. The super signals are fine. The trees are not. Hi, Patrick. Just forgot how to drink for a second. I don't know. There's a lot of nice stuff here, but there's a lot of stuff here. So I think I'm going to drop it a 5 for content. The composition of the train, I think, is very good in terms of just getting it right. But also the signal bridge is in the middle of... Oh, well, we'll get to that. Story. So to go back to the story real quick. The story is this, which I will paste this in the judging. The Arium connection. So the story is complete, but it's missing any reference to any sort of to the concept, and that's going to come in relevancy. Now, any 19 routes come up yet? No, this is the first thing we've done. The Arium connection is what connects the American rails with the outside world. On a crisp spring day as summer nears. I mean, I like the story. There's just not a lot of meat here. I think it's short and sweet, and if it was less well composed, I would definitely give it a lower number just for the fact that it doesn't really include all the pieces. But let's talk about world now. Again, I know this is a sort of ongoing production. There's maybe not a production, but there's a world behind this that I've seen a little bit of, and for that, there's some points. On the other hand, and I see all of these hoppers together, nothing jumps out at me as being wrong, even though it seems like there are some cars down towards the end there that are out of place. I don't know about these guys. They seem a little small to me. But alright, so let's talk about, let's figure out world points then for this. Now, world points is kind of a weird and subjective one. I mean, they're all subjective, it's judging. But hello. Okay, you get your blanket. That's Gloria. I love her very much.
I love you.
Why would that make me love you less? Okay. Going to the hospital is not a bad thing, guys. I just want to make that clear on stream. Yeah. Now I'm listening to them giggle about that line outside the door. Hey, it's going to be on the internet, so you can re-listen to that whenever you want. So, world points... They might still be able to hear you. Anyway, so I'm thinking of 5 for world points. Now, the weird thing that pops out about me about this, and the reason I don't like it, the reason I'm docking world points, aside from the missing grass and stuff, which is more of a scenery thing, the signal bridge is plopped down in the middle of the interlocking, which is not where you would put a signal bridge. And I keep reopening this, and honestly, hold on, let me just get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. So I can just pop over to here whenever I need to, and honestly, I should be able to delete these things. I don't remember what's in messages, but I can delete these. I'll figure out what's in here later. It's a JSON file. Oh, that's my... Oh, okay, I know what that is. Let me just get rid of that. Goodbye. So, yeah, so you have a switch past here. You'd want this signal bridge to be at the beginning of the interlocking, so that trains are stopping before the interlocking and not in the middle of it. Which, these are double-sided signals, which are fine out on the main, but in the middle of an interlocking, you don't really want those. So, that's why, that's one of the reasons, although it's just the thing that jumps out at me that I can rant about. Relevancy. Well, it's not Iron Horsemen, though I know the series employs the same sort of concept, so there's that. That said, it does not mention the concept here. This could be a screenshot of any train, and if I didn't know what the American Rails was, a lot of these scores would be a lot lower, and I want that to be kept in mind. So, as far as relevancy goes, I think this is the place where I have to make sure that there's not a lot of points, and I'm going to have to give it a 2. Because this is going to have to compensate for the other mistakes there. Completeness. The other thing is, this screenshot, so, like I said, it's got a cool title, I like that. The screenshot was not properly titled, unfortunately. And the submission is very short. So, some things are there, but as far as completeness goes, and this should be like an easy 10 for people, I'm basically going to give people a 10 as long as you fill in every page, have some reference to the prompt, and, whatever. Either way. Yes, Tris, there will be more competitions after this one. This is to get my feet wet. We're going to take a slight break from content like this. At the beginning of next year, we're going to be doing Season 3 of Local Rail, and then we're going to come back and do a round of screenshot competitions, I think. So, bonus points. This is the fun part. We're already at, 20 minutes, so let me see if I can bang out some bonus points. I like the G-styles. That's a bonus point. I like the fact that you put the electrical cabinet next to the signal bridge. That's good. The colorful hoppers, that's 3. What is the next one? I don't know yet. Other than that, I can't pick out anything. Does it matter what game? It matters that it's in trains. This one was specified to be in trains. But I suppose we could allow screenshots from like Railworks or Gary's Mod. But anyway, I'll do some more answering of questions if I haven't answered something at the end. That grass texture though, yeah, I know. Other than that, I can't find anything that jumps out at me as like a good bonus point. So let's do a quick maths on this total here. So this is 4 plus 7 plus 5 plus 8 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. Not a great overall score. That's a total score of 48 points out of a possible 100 points. But I don't think this screenshot is particularly over or underrated. And Rob, I'd like to thank you for your submission. And Godspeed on future ones. So, we're going to copy this page because I have no plans. Like, I didn't plan any of this. I can hear Peter Griffin outside my door. So let's clear this off. Clear this off. I could have set this up ahead of time, and next time I probably will. I'm just trying to get my feet wet, like I said. Alright, so, second screenshot. So I can delete this from the screenshot competition form. Once again, thank you, Rob. Move him out. Oh boy. Okay, this is gonna be fun. Move him out. This is well titled. Oh, hey, I know who that is. Oh, hey, I know who that is. Okay, man, this has already got some bonus points. This is a step up. Okay, so here is our screenshot. Oh, and I didn't even notice the train in the background. Look at that. That's background details, guys. Take notes. Default switch stand, though. Oof. Okay, so impact here is actually very high, and there's a few things, like I said, that jumped out at me immediately. Is that a police car? No. I suppose we'll know once we get to that. Impact here, right. So I see Sabaton in the background, or at least NF40. Blount in the foreground, so that's, big news. You've got a giant cliff. Cooling towers. This place is ridiculous. As far as impact goes, I'm definitely inclined to rate this kind of highly, and I'm thinking an 8 off the top of my head. Maybe that's because this is so much stuff jumping out at me compared to the last one, and maybe that'll temper in future, but I still need to get a handle on how we're judging these things anyway. So, move them out. We'll do the impact, we'll call that an 8. Now let's read the stories to get a handle on creativity. Hope is fading at the tracks of the Highland Valley Research and Development Center, with Blount and Sam finding themselves holding position at some industrial complex. All things considered, it could definitely be worse. Blount keeps a steady watch on the incoming and outgoing traffic, waiting for a perfect opportunity to sneak out. Okay, so this is, I'll say it on air. This is a reference to an upcoming crossover between the Iron Horsemen and the Rails of Highland Valley. Or not Rails of Highland Valley. What is it? It's I got distracted because Tracks of Highland Valley. Derp. No, it's not Rails of Highland Valley. I apologize. It is The Terrible Tale of Conrail 311. So, I don't know. I assume is that Bickless over there? I don't actually know what Bickless looks like. But no, not Rails of Highland Valley crossover. My misspeaking. I have had very little sleep in the past couple of days because of the aforementioned hospital thing, so I apologize if I am off my nut. So, now there's a lot going on here. I already talked about the screenshot itself. As for creativity, I mean, you've got a car and a flat car, a random tunnels coming out everywhere, a high line over there, engines of different types. This in the middle of the grass, which I think is actually pretty clever. And then on top of that, the whole backstory that's behind this, although I can't necessarily give full points because I wrote part of it. I don't want to be tooting my own horn consistently. So, creativity, I think Also, I mean, it's sort of gone off script, and so I mean, I think it's fair to give it an 8 here. There's a lot going on here, and now we'll do construction. We're back to there's a lot going on here. I think the only thing that this is missing is some scatter along the platform here, or some cars on the road, or just more junk. There is a lot going on in this, and clearly a lot went into the construction of the area, and I do appreciate that. I think it's very good. So I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give this an 8. Again, you're doing straight 8s. You got crazy 8s going on, Ryan. Composition. Again, you've got the thing off center. There's basically nothing going on. This is almost the same as the last one in terms of looking down the track, except that was more focused towards the middle. I honestly I think things are shifted a little too much, though I understand why in order to get these guys in the background there. So I don't feel comfortable with an 8 here because there is something weird and off-putting about the way the camera is pointed compared to the way Blount is angled. And also, Sam is mentioned, but she's not on camera. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but then who are those guys, Obviously, they're supposed to be Easter eggs and, etc. But, I also... Oh, right, I forgot to throw the title in here. Move them out. By you. And so let's drop the screenshot in, as we have done. Let's drop the description in, as we have done. There we go. So, composition, I think I'm going to give it a 7 because I kind of want to give it a 6, but I understand that the angle of the camera here is sort of like a compromise to get everything we want to see. Hello, LJL Railyard. As for content, okay, so we've got the new Blount, we've got the new F40 in the background, it looks like. I mean, everything here looks pretty good. These buildings, even though they're very low poly, they still look passable. The only weird thing is you've got the OG switch stand here. Otherwise, I mean, you don't have the flange track. I assume this is an older version. Is this like the power plant asset drop down in the middle? Because that's actually kind of clever. So, yeah, I mean, content, I don't think this deserves any less than an 8, that's for sure. Some of the stuff can be a little bit more high resolution, etc. But it looks good to me. Story. Now, story is interesting because, like I said, I did write part of it. Although this is kind of off script. I know that this has a backing series, and whether that's for or against it, I guess it's for because I used it for it before. Now, the only thing that I mentioned is Sam is not present or seen, and I feel like there's a few holes missing in what this description is. The other one was about as long, but was describing a much simpler scene. And so I feel like this story could have been longer, and that's really the only critique I have of it, aside from the Sam thing, and, I just want more details. Other than that, it's well written, and I understand the flair of at some industrial complex. It's written in a very specific way, but I think considering I gave this a 6, I think I'm going to have to give this an 8. Which is sort of going to front load a lot of the story stuff. World. Well, this is an interesting terrain formation. I don't know why there are cooling towers in the middle of the place. I assume that's some weirdness to do with the Highland Valley, the tracks of Highland Valley R&D Center, which I did get taken on a very brief tour of, and it is very weird. I don't know, there's definitely a lot going on, and things, pile up towards the background. This also seems very steep. I don't know. I don't really know what to do with world here. It's a world that is weird. That's for sure. It's weird and convincing in its own right, but it doesn't seem quite so real. Maybe there are other things that haven't yet clicked to me. It's just something seems strange about this whole arrangement. Partially the rock wall with tracks pointing at it. So, as for world points, and that switch stand, it sticks out like a sore thumb. You got to replace that switch stand. As for world points, I think I'm gonna give this a 7. The weirdness of the terrain doesn't help, even though I know that's like part of the thing. Yeah. We're not. I made a mistake. We're not doing crossover with the Rails Island Valley. We're doing it with 311. What did I say? I said 7, I think. Relevancy. Well, this definitely meets the prompt. It is, and I'll go back to my very brief what is relevancy up here. Overall connection to prompt. Yeah, I mean, it meets the prompt. It's Iron Horseman characters in an Iron Horseman story. So, I can't complain there. That's an immediate 10. Completeness. The screenshot was titled correctly. Everything was filled out correctly. That's basically an immediate 10. And it has a connection to the prompt. Now, bonus points. Well, Blount and Sabaton are immediate 2 bonus points. I am going to give a couple more for some interesting things about this screenshot, namely the train up there, because background action is cool, and the cooling towers in the middle of town, because that's just weird. And another one for the car on a flat car down the end of the track there. That I think is fine. Nothing else really jumps out at me, but yeah, there's that. No, that was not reference to you, Graham. Anyway, so total, let's do some scoring. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8, there's a theme here, plus 7 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5. That is a 79. That's actually quite respectable in terms of what scores have been in other submissions. Okay. So I think, oh, okay, I gotta copy paste it again. I know there's a submission coming up with quite a long story, and I'm looking forward to reading it, although my throat may not be. But this will be the test of is bigger always better? Is the content that I'm going to get out of that long story going to balance out the content that it's giving me, or balance out the time that it's taking, rather. That should be enough. That would be enough. Okay, so back down here. Submission titled. Submission number 3. Select this. Submission number 3. More timely in Baltimore. Let's scroll up so we don't get spoiler. Submission title. More timely in Baltimore. And I should have put the thing up here. This is kind of. I'm not reading it. I'm not reading it, guys. Don't read it. Don't read ahead. By Conrad Fan. Okay. Hello, Ian. Let's check out your screeny. Baltimore, 1979. Okay. I like the abbreviated title, although it's not exactly what I would get at here. Also, wow. There's a lot going on in this screenshot, and that's the first thing that jumps out at me. And that's something that jumps out at me. Which is, things that jump out at me are good, is what I'm saying. Also, are these? Okay, no, the catenaries are not going. Well, the upper wires kind of are going through the bridge. But I suppose that's unavoidable sometimes. You're supposed to use these tall poles. Whatever. It's interesting. You got Amtrak Metroliners. You've got these E44s, I think. Those are cool. Conrail blue. Everything's in bright Conrail blue except for that guy. And then you've got Chessie and B&O up top, which are a little bit more worse for wear. You've got a really small. This is quite an assemblage of hopper cars. I don't know if that's contemporary. That jumps out at me as being weird. So I'm not sure about world points with this. The track seems nice, and there are no switches without frogs, although the curve looks a little bit wonky. Those are speed trees, but I'm not seeing too many shrubs, even though on this side we do have some grasses. Yeah, okay, so impact. Now, there's a lot of bright colors here, especially the Metroliner lights up. You know, that's an old model. And, you know, I can almost hear the screenshot. You know, you start to hear noise. You know that there's a lot of trains moving in different directions on this picture. And so it's playing in my brain. So this definitely has a hell of an impact, and I feel like the only thing that could even begin to detract from the impact is just the sort of plainness of the screenshot. Now, I haven't talked about this with any of the other submissions, and we may get to it in later submissions, but the simplicity of the lighting and the lack of post-processing on a screenshot like this, I mean, it isn't hindering it because its peers aren't, like, they don't have it either, and I'm being sort of relative here, comparing one screenshot to another, but the thing to take away is that is the one thing that it's like, oh, well, but this is, you know, clearly just a train screenshot. There's a lot going on and a lot that went to set it up, but, you know, whatever. I think that this is at least on par with the last one. I feel like giving it a 9 gives it an unfair leg up over the last one, so I'm gonna have to give it an 8, even though I feel like that's maybe underselling it. Maybe I'll give it a bonus point if I feel like it's getting undersold elsewhere later. You know what? I will give it a bonus point just right off the bat for this. The amount of work that it must have taken to get all these trains in the right spots at the right times, unless they are static, but these guys don't seem static, and that makes it seem like there was at least some setup that went in, that you know, happened here. If these trains were moving during the screenshot, that's more power to you. If they weren't, you've convinced me that they were, so don't convince me otherwise. Is the pantograph on the second unit up? Yes. Okay. Are these pantographs too high? No, they're actually pretty close. Okay. Creativity. Okay, let's read our story. Although I do want to double check something here. Yeah, so creativity is a general one. Creativity. Ooh, this is a longer one. It's early 1979, still only 2 years into the Conrail merger. While behind the scenes, the company was losing profits due to the regulations still in place, to the average viewer and rail fan, it looked like a whole new era of railroading, with the blue locomotives becoming more and more common in appearance. Here in Baltimore, right outside the Chessie System Bayview Yard, and right along the Northeast Corridor, now owned by Amtrak, we see an Amtrak Metroliner of Pennsy origins notching up east past Conrail HBCS 5, with 2 E44 electrics towing around 70 freight cars. Note the patched unit. Out of the line, Conrail ELSE3 with an SD40 and SD45-2 has paused due to a kicker when the engineer went to make a reduction in the brakes. I don't know what that is. I don't know what a kicker is. On the bridge, Chessie System BLTM with a B30-7 and a C&O SD40 begins to notch down as it rolls onto the bridge entering Baltimore. So Baltimore is that way. Within the next few years, Conrail electric freights would cease, patches would be retired or repainted, and the 4R Act would be passed, and Conrail would streamline their operations, roster, and overall image. This is a hell of a run-on sentence. I just want to throw that out there. A couple of run-on sentences in here, but we'll get to the story later. The story, as mentioned, the content of the story is judged, but also the writing in the story. I just want to make sure. Okay. As for creativity, now, this isn't explicitly creativity, but the amount of work that... Oh, computer, hello. The amount of work that clearly went into knowing all of these things, that is prototypical. I've seen photos of all kinds of hoppers on Chessie trains in the 70s. Okay. Based the Chessie train off a real manifest one of my friends. Okay, so I can't cut that. And I'm tempted to give another bonus point for this as well, but the sheer amount of research that had to go into setting up a scene like this and writing that description is pretty impressive. Now, and this is like more of a unit train and whatever. There's a lot of stuff that went in here. This bridge span seems a little long, but we'll come to that later. So yeah, to figure out all these trains and get them all in the same places at the same time, I do want to give it a high score. However, and that's to say nothing of the scenery in the area, which is clearly well set up. You've got the abutments and the bridge and the 4-track main line with the electric catenaries over 2 of it, and the telephone lines and stuff like that. It's a very creative screenshot because of the amount of stuff that's gone into it and going on. And we'll get to scenery in a little bit, but the thing that detracts, and this is going to come out again in relevancy and completeness, is that these could be any engines. The prompt was about the sort of horseman concept. Obviously, this isn't a horseman specific thing, but talking trains, etc., etc. Creativity does show in the composition of the screenshot and what's in it, but what doesn't show is the sort of people, that these engines should be. So, despite all of the work that went in, and I feel bad for doing this, because despite all of the work that went in, I don't feel justified giving this thing more than like a 6. Because of that, you have so many opportunities in this very picture to explore the horseman side of the prompt, and it wasn't explored. Now, as for construction is a good one. Like I pointed out, so you've got the wires and the other wires. You've got the track set up, although the track work is maybe a little bit weird. So, I mean, at best a 9. This bridge seems a little stretched out to me, although I don't know the actual span of it in real life. You've got the abutments, which is important. Some people forget that. You've got the grass, but you don't have shrubs. You have speed trees, but there's something going on with the texturing over here. Again, I feel like you're missing some more grass. All in all, there's a lot of good stuff here in terms of your construction, but it's high up there because the scene is definitely complete, but it's middle of the road with what you actually chose to fill it with. You definitely spent a lot of time putting these consists together, but just putting down a layer of grass would have helped you quite a bit as well. So, yeah, the actual span is pretty long. I mean, I can believe it. It's just this particular bridge, I know this is one of the RTK bridges, I think, and it's stretched out. Like, it's not supposed to look like this. Construction. So, construction, I mean, because it's matching a real place, I can forgive a lot of those things, and I'll give you a 7. Maybe that's generous, but I think creativity was selling you short. So, composition. This is a very straight-on picture. We've got trains coming in from both sides and over. That, I think, is chef's kiss. Like I said, no post-processing. You've got this tree sticking up over here, which, I mean, I feel like it's weird that it's just on its own, and that could have been adjusted to make it a little bit better / more realistic. I don't know what the trees look like over there. I don't know if this is representative of a real tree. Every single time I've said something thus far judging this screenshot, someone has come out of the comments to tell me how that's a real thing, and my weirdness is just weirdness in real life. Now, like is always said, real life, fiction has to make sense and real life doesn't, so real life is always going to be weirder than fiction. So these things, especially Conrail painted E44s and this like, oh, half of it's electrified, blah 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 blah. Now, obviously things would jump out at me as being like, well, that's kind of weird, but these things make sense, and I know that, and every time I don't know that, everyone tells me that I ought to. So, as far as the composition goes, I'll give it an 8, and I'll feel comfortable with that. 7 seems too low. 9 seems maybe a little bit too high, because of the other things that are missing in terms of scenery and stuff like that. This is the second one where I've wanted to give like an 8.5. I wanted to give an 8.5 on composition and impact, so I'll give it the bonus point down there. I'm happy with that. Now, content. The only thing that jumps out at me of being weird or old, aside from the Conrail units being way too blue and unweathered, which, I mean, they should be brand new, right, I understand that, but they really do look like plastic toys. You can tell this is a better model with better meshes or something. The Conrail thing, it jumps out at me as being a little old. Now, somebody's going to say in the chat over here in 2 seconds that, no, that's a brand new model, it just looks like that, it's supposed to look like that, but what I'm getting at is, it's very shiny. These two guys, they look good. The hoppers, they look good, except that one is clearly old, but it's tough unless you're really looking for it. I maybe would have swapped in a different hopper there if you could get your hands on one. But of course, you said it was from a real manifest, so you don't want to do that. That, I assume, is also why these engines are running nose to tail. The Metroliners are really old, but I don't know what else you would put there at this point, especially if you're looking for Amtrak under wires. Maybe a GG1, but the Metroliners definitely fit the piece, so I can cut you some slack there. So, content, with the RRTK stuff, except for these textures being, the grass texture being a little eh, I think the content is a decent 8. I can definitely see an 8 there. Story. Ouch. So, the story, in general, it covers all the bases that you needed to cover in terms of describing the actual physical scene. And I like that. Definitely points for that. What it doesn't do is it doesn't talk about the horseman aspect of it, and it doesn't talk about the, well, I mean, you're missing a few things. A couple of the other ones mentioned, or another one mentioned the weather, like describing the day. That's nice. As I mentioned, there's a couple of run-on sentences here. Maybe the details on what these trains are and what's in them is almost too much detail. But, you've got the action scene here with the thing that begins to notch down. And this is a good aside, even though, like I said, it's a run-on sentence. So, ooh, that's rough. So, yeah, I'm really torn on this one, and maybe I'd be comfortable giving it a 6, but as far as Horseman stuff goes, I feel like it's missing a big chunk of what you could fit in this scene, and honestly, I'm going to give it a 5, and I'm going to feel generous doing that. Now, as for world, again, we're missing the Horseman aspect of things, but this is a real scene. This is a real scene, and it's including a lot of important things about the world at this time. That's, again, major props. The bridge looks a little bit stretched out, but as previously established, well, I already talked about that. So, this is more than a fancy screenshot. This is a slice of real time, and not really what we were getting at with the prompt, but it's still good because of that, and because of that, the world is fairly solid, and part of me wants to give this like an 8, because how can I complain about the world when all of this is real? But at the same time, it's missing the Horseman thing. I think I'm going to give it a 7 and feel generous. Now, relevancy. It's a train screenshot. That's about it. I mean, it didn't meet the prompt. I'm going to have to give it a 1. And I feel bad about that, but it's the prompt was horsemen, and no, you didn't have to include horseman characters, but you had to at least include the concept. Anyway, I also don't see how the title ties in. Some of these I'm not sure how the title ties in, but either way, I'm liking the piece. Completeness. So let's look at the submission real quick. You've got this. You titled this mostly fine. And although it's not explicitly what I asked for, I do like it. So I'm gonna have to knock off a couple points for not including, not going with the prompt, or at least maybe 1 point there. But you did submit everything. The prompt is done. You were clearly somewhat paying attention when you submitted stuff, so I'm gonna give you a 7. Now let's do our bonus points. Electric Freight I find very cool, so let's do that. The patched or older units. Is that my computer making that noise? Yes, it is. I also find very cool, and the Metroliners as well. The fact that you call it their Expensi, yay, standards. I will give you one more because I can't stop gushing about the amount of actual historical accuracy that went into this piece. So, let's do our maths. 8 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus 1 plus 7 plus 5. That gives you a 62. So, despite botching the prompt something fierce, you still got a half-decent score. Which it's almost a shame that this score is higher than the other one, but the other one, like I said, the first one, it wouldn't have fulfilled the prompt either if it didn't, if I didn't know what American Railroads was. So, there's that. Down to the next one. Submission title. Alright, let's delete Timely in Baltimore. We're about halfway through this thing. We're about an hour in. Okay. CNR before the IHR. Oh, there's another one with Blount, I assume. So let's open this one up and get the impact of it. I don't know which one it is. That's not helpful. Oh, you know what I can do? This one? I can delete these. Oops. I hit end instead of delete. Alright, so let's figure out which one this is. It's called Bruh, It's Not Craig. Come on. Oh, this is really pretty. Oh, wow, this is really pretty. I like this. This is, so we're playing with post-processing here, or at least some weather effects, and this is really pretty. It's a simple screenshot, and you can tell, the textures on the ground are hold on, somebody DM'd me. Let me just check it real quick. I'm not going to check it in a way that lets all of you guys see into my private messages, but I am going to check it, because it might be something important. That's why I was commiserating on the T. Oh, and it wasn't that. So I need to get back in the right headspace, because that was a message that took me out of it. So this is pretty, like I said. We're on the CNR. I assume that's Blount. Impact. I am pretty stunned by how pretty this friggin' picture is. I don't even know what necessarily would make it better. Like, and that's the thing. It's like when it comes to impact, this is super duper subjective. Like I said, of course they all are, but I am getting taken away by this screenshot. So, oh, I forgot to thank the last people as I went through. I wanted to, thank you Ryan and thank you Ian for your submissions. So this is entitled CNR before the IHR. Now, whether or not this is strictly Whether or not this is strictly canon is unimportant. I'm not going to judge people on using different interpretations of the Iron Horseman canon. So, in 1938, yeah, so that's way later than actual canon, but like I said, unimportant. In 1938, CN 3254 was working one of his last trains before going to the Iron Horseman Railroad in Washington State. It was a spectacular morning as the local passenger train went pounding down the rails by the field. We are thankful for this photo, as 3254 would never see these rails again. Hopefully he can come back someday soon. I think it is, yeah, so that should be one word. But you also don't mention him by name, which is something. This is a very photo caption sort of picture. Let me guess, somebody's just... Oh wait, never mind. Yay, This Week in Sports Ball. One second. So let's talk about Impact. I'm giving it a 10. I'm gonna do it. I'm giving it a 10 for Impact. I love this. It's a super pretty screenshot. Now, creativity. So you took Blount, you put him back in his home place. Local passenger train went pounding down the rails by the field. I mean, could be a little more specific. You could have just picked out anything random. I don't think we have canon written on this, and like I said, if the canon ends up being, whoops, the canon ends up being slightly wrong, that's not the end of the world. So, creativity, it's a good one. It's a really good one, and I want to give it a 7, but it almost feels like that's selling it short because of how goddamn pretty it is. The only reason I feel like creativity is lacking here is because it's very vague. And I mean, it's very, very vague. I don't really have much other to say than that. So let's just talk about construction. You can pop out the chat if you don't want to show the stream data. Oh, can I? I don't know how to do that. Pop out chat. Oh, interesting. Nah, I'm fine with showing the stream data. Kay, for the record, and for everybody else, including Ian, who submitted 3 times by accident, I guess, I was taking the last submission. If somebody submitted multiple, I was taking the last submission. So if you needed to update your submission, you could submit again. Obviously, don't do that constantly. But, don't clutter the inbox with responses there. But when it comes down to I realized I want to do something different, or I screwed something up and I want to change it, you're welcome to resubmit just to get something different. And apparently not East. I'm sorry about that. East, if you want to... I don't know if there's anything in our DMs that I wouldn't want to put on a screen, but if you want to, like, DM me your thing, then maybe you can. Maybe just spam a bunch of dots to hide everything previously. If that's something that you want to do. If not, again, there's no winners here. There's nothing, like, I'm not giving anything away at the end of this competition. Maybe in the next one. I was tempted to say that the winner... no, TJ, why do you have to DM me your thing? Did you miss the deadline? Because I'm only asking East to send me his because he apparently didn't miss the deadline and it disappeared. Unless he's lying to me, in which case East sus, vote him out. But if you miss the submission deadline and are not East Rail, don't just DM me your thing. And this isn't necessarily aimed at TJ. So, construction. These flowers are very pretty. The trees make up a very pretty background. The hills are nice and artsy. Honestly, I don't really have anything against the construction of this. The only thing is this texture doesn't look great super up close. And it's supposed to be a field, and it's not like, I mean, it's not like a plowed field. This is more like a meadow is what this is. So, I'm going to give it a 9 because of that weirdness. Composition, straight up gorgeous. The only thing I could think about is the train is very centered. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, admittedly, it looks really pretty. But, yeah. Also, why does he have a... Oh, I assume that's for mail. Yeah, this is a wicked pretty screenshot. I gotta give it that. Are these the 2D trees, or are they 3D trees? I can't tell, and that's not a bad thing. Also, yeah, morning. Spectacular morning. Okay, so, composition... I'm gonna give it a 9, because there's something weird about where the train is on the screenshot. I don't know. It just feels off to me. I don't know where it would be if it was better. Centered and a little further away? I don't know. That might feel weird too. There's just something about it. I wish I could put my finger on it. Anyway. I'm gonna check and see whose those deems are. It's not showing me. Oh, there we go. Ah, thank you. East. There you go. Okay. Now, content. So there's Blount. Good looking engine. Mostly good looking stuff. I really have no qualms with the content, although this boxcar is kind of weird. I can't really see it. I assume it's just a generic boxcar. I think any problem with the content is hidden by the fact that, you know, you've got the morning haze and everything like that. So, unless these are 2D trees, I can't tell. They sort of seem like it from here. There's something a little bit weird about them. I don't know what it is exactly. But yeah, I mean, for content, I think this is deserving of like a 9 as well. Story. So it's a little short and sweet. Doesn't mention Blount by name, and it doesn't really. It doesn't say much. I mean, it's a caption. It's a caption. It's not a story. But that doesn't make it bad. I mean, there's some weirdness with the way the sentence flow is and this. And yeah, I don't know what this would be leading to. I feel like it's a nicely written caption, but it could definitely be better. There's definitely room for improvement here. So, when was the last time we were going to... Washington State, yes. So, as for story, I think I'm not uncomfortable giving this a 5, even though maybe it deserves a little better, but you've scored a lot of points so far. As for world, I don't see anything wrong with the world here. Except for, wouldn't they just have a baggage car on here? What is this boxcar? I assume baggage car, but you have a baggage car. Is it like a REA boxcar? But this is Canada. Did Canada have the REA? I thought that was a US thing. Either way, it's very pretty. There's also a lot of deciduous trees here, which maybe you'd be looking for pines in Canada more. I don't know. I mean, it seems pretty good. I can't pick anything out about the scene that's particularly weird. It feels like wintertime almost. Oh, right. No, I'm going to dock another point because of the vagueness in this passage. And relevancy. Relevancy. Okay, well, we definitely... Whoa, there's a combine, express car, and baggage. Canada did have express boxers. Okay. Okay. An observation. Yeah, why does a local train have an observation car? Maybe that was just a more normal thing than I know. Either way, I feel like it would just be... I feel like if it's a local passenger train, it's going to be just coaches. I don't know. Maybe there are some incongruities here with the consist itself. But, I mean, it looks really pretty, so there's that. Relevancy. Like I mentioned, the canon disputes aside. It definitely meets the prompt. It is, like I said, a little bit vague, so I'm going to give it probably a 9 instead of a 10. I'm starting at 10 and counting down. Other than that, I mean, I really don't have anything against it. It's a good screenshot, and it fits the prompt, which, you know, is what that's about. Now, completeness. Oh man, I don't know why you entitled the screenshot that. Although I understand, I guess it's a joke in another series. Craig is another 3254, is it not? Is that the 3254 from 311? I don't actually know off the top of my head. Title of screenshot and your username. Completeness. Yeah. Oh, it's San Juan. Okay. I'm thinking an 8 or maybe a 7, just because of the weirdness with the title. Otherwise, it's not half bad. But this is supposed to be all about following the prompt, so I'll give it a 7 and not feel bad about it. Bonus points. Well, the sheer awe of this extraordinarily pretty screenshot is a point, coupled with working with the weather effects and things like that. I definitely have nothing bad to say about how pretty this screenshot is. Bonus points, I mean, I'm not going to give a bonus point for thinking through the consist. Bonus point for doing... I don't know. I don't know what else I've got here. Yeah, I don't know what else I've got here. Nothing else really jumps out at me. I've gushed about this enough in the other categories. I don't know how a screenshot like this would earn that many bonus points in the first place. And I know they are like an integral part of the... an integral part of the score. Because they don't push you over 100, they just... they get you to 100. So, you know, maybe the scoring system is inherently unfair, but I've been using it the whole time, so as long as everyone's getting the same scores. So, 10 plus 7 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 7 plus 1. Really, that's it. 73. 10, 7, 9, 9, 9. 5, 7, 9. 7, 1, yeah, okay. 73. That makes this, less than this, but still second of the competition so far. Alright, so next submission. Let's delete that. I'm getting a little woozy. Delete response. Just another brick in the ward. I like the title. I delete that. Just another brick in the ward. Now we've got some post-processing. Now we've got some detail. A lot went into this one. And there's our favorite, allegedly orange F unit. So I did get some insight on this screenshot ahead of time, and it's different than the one that I was previewed and discussed, but it's still good. It's definitely eerie, and I like the impact of it. But you want to know one of the weirdest things that jumps out at me? I can see nothing in this building. Uh, but this is definitely a good feel, and this is definitely like this is a pretty screenshot. I mean, just the way that the Great Northern engine is lit up by Cole's headlight, presumably, or some other point light. I don't know what this is doing here. I feel like if it was here, it wouldn't be built on such a shockwad angle. But anyway, this doesn't, for whatever reason, this doesn't pop at me as much as K-Masters did, which is kind of unfortunate because I know a lot went into this. But this is sort of the picture that you sort of look at and go, ooh, let me look at that more, whereas K's was more of a, wow, that's pretty, you know? Which, by the way, K-Master, thank you for your submission. Keep forgetting to say that, and I'll thank everybody at the end of the show again. But, so, Impact, I think I'm going to give an 8, but that might even be selling it short. So, let's grab this title. I'm not reading. Let's grab this. It's a fan wire update complete. And let's drop this in here. And let's talk about the story that goes with it. So, as for Impact, by the way, I did say an 8. Again, I think it's selling it short, but I'm not sure it just doesn't pop at me as much as the other one. Again, these are a relative thing. Okay. Cole had been acting up in an irregular fashion after delivery, with the CMO stating all signs pointing away from mechanical issues. Oh, okay, I understand. That's a weirdly phrased sentence. There was little the Grand could do. Their hand forced, Cole was sent to the one place they knew could, hopefully, fix him. Waiting in the processing yard with a worn-out consolidation and parts of the trade, men approach with their reticent switcher to determine their next move throughout the facility. The true deftness of this ballet of industries shrouded from the outside world, not just by the weather, but by the rumors and stories abound. I would say that abound. This is well written, I just would write it maybe a little bit differently. That said, different strokes. This is fun. This is touching on Cole before the Iron Horseman Chronicles, which has been only mentioned a couple of times, although we will get into again someday in the future of the series. Now, let's go back to judging for a second while I soak this in a little bit more. So creativity, right? The Vancouver Ward, I'm not sure if it's been mentioned by name in the series proper. In fact, it is avoided being mentioned by name. But the people that have access to the files for the ongoing things, the future projects, they know what the ward is and what its purpose is going to serve in the future. Now, for those who don't, the Vancouver Ward is basically it's a locomotive rehabilitation facility. It's a locomotive mental hospital. There are only 3 places on the North American continent, or really in the Americas at all, that are able to do the kind of rebuilding that they do there. Now, it's interesting because one of the other ones is Burnham Shops. Burnham Shops, though, deals a lot more in the experimental and takes on a lot of the government contracts. So, this was not them trying to necessarily fix coal, this was them divesting themselves of coal. In at least the normal Horseman canon, anyway. So, let's paste that in there and just make sure that the spacing is the same as everything else. So, creativity, I mean, obviously, this isn't an original concept of Tyler's, but then again, most of this stuff isn't, so I'm not going to take away points for that. And Tyler definitely, we sat down and we expanded on the concept of the Vancouver Ward and what it might look like and what it does and the process, the procedure of putting an engine through or at least bringing an engine in. So that note that, oh, I was the one that came up with the Vancouver Ward, that doesn't actually dock him any points. In fact, as previously mentioned, this is a horseman thing. This is I would never I would never or I would loathe to take points away because somebody used a character off of the thing that I asked people to use as a reference, or location or whatever. So, and this actually has both. This is setting and character. I'm glad this guy's standing outside of the gauge. I was critiquing something that was shown to me, and it had one of the little AI people, or the people standing inside the gauge, and I was like, no, don't do that. But creativity, I mean, honestly, the amount of work that's gone into this picture, it's extraordinarily creative. I can't find a fault in it. I mean, the only thing, like I said, the only thing I could say is that it's not like an original IP, but that's not important here. Everyone was welcome to use the Horseman IP, and in fact, it was encouraged. So, I'm going to give it a 10. Construction. This area is undeniably gorgeous. And I do know that the Vancouver Ward is on the water. And if you know the series, you know that Williams, the barge, docks there, so you know it has to be. But for whatever reason, this rock outcropping, it's almost like I can hear the ocean in the background. Especially with the big crane over here. Maybe adding a second big crane would make it even more obvious that right over this ridge is some docks and stuff. And I can see another one there. So, we've got cranes. There's a caboose on blocks. I just happened to notice that. But yeah, I mean, the pile of stuff is not unoriginal. The shed just sitting here is kind of a weird thing, and I think this is blocking a door. This is probably a fire code violation. So Tyler, you should check on that. But other than that, yeah, this scene's freaking gorgeous. The construction is top notch. Although they would probably not mount these like this, hanging off the side. So I'm gonna say, I mean, there are a few really minor nitpicks I could give here, so I'll give it a 9. Nitpicks have never stopped me. Composition. Okay, this is where I come back to talking about how gorgeous this effing picture is. Oh, whoops, I need to, sponsorship over. Laughson being the person right of the Vancouver files, yeah. Much closer to the, yeah. There's a burial railway tender in the junk in front of coal. Of course there is. And chrome door Alna had to throw. I spent too much time with the Corona assets. Yeah, and Tyler, I really hope that I really hope that you were understanding. Wait a minute, what? Hold on, I saw something. Wait. Gabe is in the building as an Easter egg. Actually, wait, what? Gabe's in the building? I can't tell, the resolution's not high enough, but that's pretty funny. Okay, I gotta give the bonus point for that now that I know about it. So, composition, outstanding. Although, you have a weird point light source back there. That's the only weird thing that I'm noting here. Other than that, this is pretty fantastic. You know, I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 because nitpicks. I love nitpicks. I like giving out 9s. You know what the, you know those teachers that are like, I don't give perfect grades. I'm not one of those, but I'm almost one of those. So in terms of actually, would Davenport be north or south of Seattle? Davenport's north of Seattle. It's I don't remember the name of the actual place. I think it starts with an E. TJ, come down here, Pennsylvania. We got plenty of Corona. No. Okay, content. All this stuff is gorgeous. This is kind of a weird wheel set. I wouldn't leave it just sitting. I would maybe sink it to the ground a little bit. But yeah, I cannot fault this content. Although, the dockside crane, not on a dock. So that's interesting. Unless the crane goes that way, and these aren't the crane rails. I thought these were the crane rails. No, that's just regular rails, huh? God, there's just so much stuff here. And it's all outstanding. Like, nothing here is weird or, like, ill-textured. Although these guys are not great. I don't know. I don't know. I can't not give this a 10 for content. This is gorgeous. It's fantastic. Everything used here is outstanding. Story. Like I said, I would write it a little bit differently. I just feel like the sentences are a little bit clunky because you're trying to make them all full of interesting details. Yes, thank you, Everett, Washington. I'll get it at dinner on Saturday. Oof. I'm sorry, TJ. So, as for story, I do love how it's equal parts coal and equal parts the ward itself. I like the characterization you're giving to things. I like the I like the window you're opening on Cole's backstory. What is going on out there? I hope you can't hear them. Anyway, Gianna's singing Hamilton. Okay, so story. Story. I want to give it a 9, but it's mostly because of things that I find are clunkily written. What was it? Always been active in a regular fashion after delivery. The CMO stating all signs pointing away from... Yeah, no, I'm going to give it a 9. I feel like you could have just added a couple of words here that would have helped. With the CMO stating all signs were pointing away from mechanical issues, there was little the Grand could do. Or, of this ballet of industry is shrouded from the outside world not just by the weather, but by the rumors and stories that abound, or abounding. Okay, world. Now, we all know the Iron Horseman is fairly fleshed out. Sometimes it's a mess, but it exists. Some of it just exists up here, which is a problem, but, whatever. The world, right? I mean, the only thing... So the things that stick out at me, and world points is like, how does this screenshot feel in terms of reality? And the two things that I mentioned that are sticking out at me that are weird are, this is just sort of hovering, it feels like. This is at a weird angle, and these are sticking off the side, which I realize that all of these are one asset, I think. So, yeah, that's a little bit more understandable. I would have had them all angled, but of course you can't just angle the whole thing, it would be hanging off even worse. Why is there a caboose sitting on the ground? We'll never know. Why are the chimneys on these buildings so thick? Or this one chimney. Anyway. And is that a... Okay, I thought that was like an... I thought there was going to be an advertisement here, and I was like, who are you advertising to? That's like hanging up advertisements well, I guess in the waiting room at a hospital is not actually a bad spot. But like in a psych ward. It's like, come see our, new play. Come see Hamilton on Broadway. And they're like, we can't leave. We're not allowed to leave. But I mean, I guess it's something to put on your bucket list for when you get better. Anyway. Yeah, as far as world goes, there are a couple of weird incongruities here. So for that, I think I'm going to give it an 8, even though maybe it deserves a little bit better. Relevancy. Well, there's no reason that shouldn't be a 10. Completeness. Let me just check real quick to make sure that the submission was done right. Just another brick in the ward. Pensy fan 110. Yeah, good job. Good job. That's another 10. Bonus. The nighttime screenshot. Gorgeous. Vancouver ward. That's the amount of work that went into building this, because I know this set was just built. It's outrageous. That's another point, absolutely. The characterization, this is, aside from the nitpicks that I've had, this should be a standard for what a caption should be based off of. You know, we're talking about the characters, we're talking about the setting, we're talking about what's physically going on in the moment. This is everything, and because this is a model a model screenshot, I have to give it another bonus point for that. This is also the only screenshot that includes people. People. Give that a 5 too. Or humans. TBS advertisement. Yeah, if you got me to advertise for you on here, that'd be kind of funny. Okay. So let's do. You couldn't do that to me. I don't see why not. I would have busted your chops about it. All right. So 8 plus 10. This is a standing screenshot. Plus 9 plus 9 plus 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5. That is a lot of points. Yeah, that's right? Yeah. Yeah. 88 points. I think that's a record that's going to stand for a while, and that was on a very early one. I feel like maybe, you know, this thing is definitely getting an extraordinarily high total score because it's good, also because of its peers. Also because it's getting it's getting elevated because of the things around it are not quite of the same caliber. Although let's find out. Let's move on. Penultimate one in here. Oh, this is Remember the Titans. That's a movie, I think. Submission title: Remember the Titans. Don't read the thing. Don't read the thing. Oh, it's Matt. Hey, Matt. By Matt. So let's open up Remember the Titans. Just another brick in the ward. Oh, no, I gotta give him one more point for that title. Oh, the Marriott just sent me an email. They want me to go on vacation. I don't think this is the time. Alright, delete that. So. I can hear Gloria singing King George parts. I love it. So, Remember the Titans. Oh, hello. This is pretty. Remember the Titans. Now, I wish this screenshot had more resolution, but that's the problem, isn't it? And we're not doing anything with terrain effects here, and also this switch stand is kind of in an awkward spot. It also doesn't seem to be... It doesn't seem to be working a switch, guys. It's just a switch stand in the middle of nowhere. This one, too. That's strange. Why are those the things that jump out at me instead of the incredible screenshot that I'm looking at? Putting these two side by side, bam, this is cool. So, I think, again, compared to its peers, it's not the most outstanding thing in the world, but it's a really freaking pretty screenshot. Who's that? Who's that in the background? That looks like Jacques or something. Looks Canadian. Although the stack is not tall enough to be Jacques. I don't know who that is in the background. It's not Mark either. Hey, Matt, who's that? Y'all delete emails? Yes. Okay, I didn't realize you could see that they were fake. Ha! Oh, you just wanted the switch stands there to check them out? Oh my god, dude. So, anyway. So as far as impact goes, oh, they've got people too. People, look at that. I'll give a bonus point for people because that's a precedent now. It's not gonna. That's not always gonna be a thing, guys. I just want everyone to know. Throwing people into your screenshot isn't a guaranteed extra bonus point. Impact. I'm gonna actually give it an 8. And I was gonna give it a 7 because it's not the most striking picture. But when you look at it and you go, wow, look at that. And then you go, those two really pretty engines, and they're rivals, and they're sitting side by side. How interesting is that? And it sort of draws you in a little bit. This is a mix between the, wow, that's really pretty, and the, let me look at that more of the last two screenshots. So, creativity. Let's read the blurb. This is 6110's final trip out of Chicago. The engine is due to be sidelined and likely scrapped unless someone buys it. The crews of it and New York Central 5445 normally pitted against each other in an age-old family feud, share a toast to celebrate the final and grandest race out of Chicago that the Pennsy and Central have ever had. And a grand race it was. So this is clearly non-horseman, but it's good. The thing that I'm about to get...
Sorry to bother you, but you gotta sing Hamilton with me.
I know, I could hear. I already told everybody.
Did you really?
Yes. Anyway. 6110th Final Trip out of Chicago. So, this is a cool screenshot. This is a cool description. So I'm going to drop that in. Doesn't have any horseman stuff in it though. Not like the people, but the concept. Now, I understand that these are horseman characters, but the usage of them as I didn't realize you could see that. Yeah. So it uses a horseman character, but we're not seeing them described as characters. Now, this is a very interesting scene. I don't feel like this tower would be there, so we'll get to that later. And of course, these are fake. Fake switch stands. This is like putting the fake hood scoop on your car. But creativity, I mean, the background is set up interestingly enough, and I think I'm happy giving it a 7 on the creativity side. Maybe even a 7.5 because, well, you know, it's a creative picture. And to pull out these two engines and have the crews talking together and stuff like that. Yeah, you know what? Let's give that an 8. Let's give that an 8. So, construction. Well, you've got fake switch stands. Other than that, you've got the city built up in the background. That's really cool. Although I can tell some of these buildings are two-dimensional. Other than that, I mean, it's a well set up screenshot. I'm tempted to give it another 8. I just feel like there's not enough depth in this direction, and maybe not. You know, yeah. I mean, if you're looking from this side, ignoring the switch stands, this is cool. This is cool. Background looks kind of weird. Background's looking kind of weird. Background looks weird. So I'm gonna give it a 7. And maybe that's fair. Maybe that also balances out some other stats. Now, composition. This is a good looking screenshot. Your subjects are front and center. You've got switch stands. Get them out of here. Your subjects are front and center. Maybe this could be a little bit more over that way. You've got this guy hiding, which maybe I wouldn't have thrown him in there. You don't have anything back here, and you don't have like the little scatter or whatever. And that I feel like is detracting, because you know, you look over here and everything looks fine. You look over here and things seem kind of bland. But as far as composition really goes, I mean, I don't have much to complain about. It's a good looking set of it's a good looking screenshot. Again, aside from this, I'd be pretty pleased with this as my desktop background or something. So, I think I'm going to give it another 7. Also, I'm going to check to just make sure that these DMs are just from East, because they aren't showing up on my phone. Alright, there we go. My original title was a Hamilton reference. Okay, we'll come back to that. Content. Now, this uses some Premiere content, and you've got these guys in a flat car and more Pensy stuff. I'm not sure I would have used this coaling tower. There aren't too many good ones, but I'm not sure I would have used this one. The backgrounds, let's be honest, I feel like you could have just thrown some more buildings back there and it would have been better than using the flat things. So, yeah, no, I'm just thinking here. I'm tempted to give it a 7, but I think I'm going to give it a 6. I feel like there's not enough content, especially in terms of the ground scatter and stuff like that. I mean, it's good-looking content. The stuff that you do have, there just isn't enough of it. And the background's weird. At Bombs321, the Iron Horsemen Railroad, when will Johnson and Sally try to kill each other? Oh, they do that all the time. Painting I was inspired from. Oh, there's a... I can't click on this. Let's just... Oops, I should have hit paste and go. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah. Not one of them is not standard, but... both of those are standard. Southern 7 episode, I guess it's no. I'm telling Great Coaling Towers, North Walpole one would be good as anyone would. Yeah, no. Yeah, and I'm not... It's not the worst one you could have picked, that's for sure. It's just not the best one. Alright, so story. You're missing... Well, okay, the story's very good. I like the story. And I'm going to give you a base score of 7. I just want to start there. But I'm going to go above, up and down. Age-old family feud... the last run, that's like guilt tripping me for points. But on a serious note, I think it's going to stay a 7 because while I like what the story describes, you're missing the horseman side of it. The relevancy to the prompt. So now for world, like I said, you're missing some stuff. You've got a lot going on in the background. You're definitely in the middle of a city. The switch stands do nothing. I'm going to have to give it a 6. Relevancy. Your horseman characters, I'll give it that much. But I'm going to have to give you like a 3 here for relevancy, because you didn't really meet the prompt. And that's maybe being generous, because the engines aren't people here, they're just engines. And that's not what I was looking for, not what I was hoping for. If, admittedly, maybe I could have written the prompt better, I could have written more details about what I meant by the horseman concept, but someone also could have asked. I feel like people glossed over the word concept. Again, maybe it's my fault. When a teacher teaches a class and everyone gets D's, it's probably the teacher's fault, and in this case, it's probably my fault. Anyway, completeness. So, let's look at the submission real quick. Remember the Titans, Matt. Yeah, good. I mean, honestly, the completeness of the submission is fine. I'll just give you a 10. I mean, you submitted it properly. Although, no, I'll give you a 9 because you clearly didn't read the whole prompt. Or at least you didn't understand it. Again, that part might be my fault. So bonuses. The sibling rivalry, I love it to death, even if these aren't the things. The other thing, I wanted to give you a couple of other points for a few things. Sneaky engine in the background, I mean, action in the background's good. Your switch stands that don't do anything, they've given me a laugh. So, there's that. And going off of that other photograph, that other picture. Oops, wrong thing. I was trying to keep prompt from an outside perspective. That didn't necessarily say that. Just me misdoing it. Okay. Okay. Well, we're at an hour 38. We're getting close to the end here. Alright, so let's tally up these points. 8 plus 8 plus 7 plus 7 plus 6 plus 7 plus 6 plus 3 plus 9 plus 4. 65. That's not half bad compared to some of your contemporaries. Matt, I think you did a half decent job for not doing the prompt correctly. I should reorder these, but I don't feel like it. Alright, so now on to the last one that was submitted through the form. I don't know what happened to East's, honestly. Contest submission, trash on a train. It's just called contest submission. That's a lot of jimmies. Oh, this is the long one, isn't it? Oh boy. Brace yourselves. This is a pretty screenshot. Of course, my first reaction is that's a lot of jimmies. Are these guys even coupled? That seems strange. Yeah, it's got that sort of cool and exotic sort of feel. I mean, obviously we're in South Africa. I don't know. It's a cool screenshot. There's a lot of action. So as far as impact goes, the spookiness of the impact. Oh, I gotta actually set up the page for it. So give me 1 second. Storms Brewing. Storms Brewing by Lurking in the Woods. And let's drop the thing in there so that it's preserved for all time. And now for the thing. Now I'm going to take another long sip of water. Never mind, I thought this was much longer. I don't know why I thought it was much longer. I might have seen a different one. I might have actually seen the one from Ian's submission and thought that that was this one by just assuming by seeing how long it was. Pineapple cup, yes. This might bite me on the back end, but I tried really hard to go for symbolism in this. Alright, let's see. Clover muttered to herself as passengers boarded. We're at a passenger station? Haley called a greeting as she and Jimmy roared past. That should be past, P-A-S-T. I don't know what's going on in the other room. Soon Jimmy roared past with the train, a storm on their heels. Clover didn't seem to notice. Okay, interesting. Now, I'm not sure I understand if there's any symbolism going on here, but, yeah, I assume that the storm coming has to do with the... Oh my god, it's Jimmy. I assume that the storm coming has to do with what's going to be described in the next thing I'm going to read, but I'm just sort of, like, trying to absorb this moment. I can't help but notice the fact that the passengers are boarding, but we don't have, we're not at a station. It doesn't look like we're at a station. Now, it's off screen, there's nothing wrong with that. I just looked at the screenshot and went, okay, we're in the middle of nowhere, but apparently we're at a train station. Or a flag stop, maybe. So, in 1915, the South African Railways purchased 15 locomotives from the the Beira. I promise there's a building just off screen. Railway to fill a sudden power shortage. 11 were given numbers. 4 had their boilers cannibalized. 11 were given numbers. I see like 11 were given numbers, 4 had the boilers cannibalized. Of the 11 locomotives, 2 would not survive the transplant. Interesting. The other 2 entered service. NG-105 named Clover would be taken out of service within 2 years. Afterwards, she was donated to the Vancouver Ward. There's a lot of hitting enter here. NG-106 named Haley would remain in the SAR with Jimmy until 1935. In the end, she would suffer the same issues as her sister. Yeah, I do agree with what you said here. What did you say? Hold on, you said something about... No, I don't know. Maybe I'm distracted. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But either way, what I'm saying is, I feel like this could have been less brief, and it would have been even better. I feel like you could have done more with the elaboration and more with the description of what happens to these engines. Not that people don't necessarily know. Certainly I know what you're talking about. And, you know, there's a balance to be found between being too wordy and being, you know, brief and good. But I feel like admittedly, this is a very good and pretty screenshot, but I almost feel like both in physical size and in discussion, you almost narrowed your scope too much. That said, wait, didn't you model this for the... Hold on, did you model this for the thing? What did you model? I was worried about going too far, so I kept it brief. Yeah, no, I can understand that. I think you maybe erred on the side of too brief. Can you describe to me again what it is that you made for this? Did you make this engine for this? Did we have Jimmy in the game? He tried. Or is this not actually Jimmy? Or something? What's going on here? What happened with the model? The model I was making for this didn't pan out. Okay, never mind. Okay, just wanted to check because that would have been a hell of a bonus point. Okay, well, impact. I think I'm going to give this a 7. It's a very pretty picture, although nothing seems to jump out at me. It's sort of a medium, like, ooh, I want to look at this, you know? Not like I need to look at it to see more, not like, wow, it grabs me and I have to look at it right now, but like I want to look at this. This is a cool shot of trains on its own. And, I mean, definitely a plus 1 point on the composition front for using the weather effects and stuff like that. Clover's tender is still in Vancouver. Where am I screenshot? Oh, yeah. Models being up with Falcon F2, what Clover and Haley were originally. I got the model done, but trains refused to cooperate. Well, now I know a good bonus point for next time. What, modeling something? Yeah. Throw a pineapple cup in. That'll do it. Creativity. And I want to be able to see... curse you. I want to be able to see the chat, but I can't. Creativity. Now, we are in South Africa. This is the first one outside of the US/Continental Republic, except for the one in Canada. So it's the first one out of North America. Anyway, so that gets points as well. Now, these engines all are named. These are engines that you all named yourself, I'm pretty sure. Or no. No, wait, no, they were named, weren't they? Either way, they're engines with names. I'm just checking back to chat to see when that filters through what's responded to here. And yeah, so setting this in a foreign setting, there's not a ton that's going on in terms of background here, but honestly, I think I'm going to give you an 8 for creativity right off the bat. There's a lot that went into here. And in fact, maybe even that's selling it short, but I'll give you some bonus points later. Construction. The grass is nice. You picked out a special kind of track for it with the greenish ballast. The trees being in the background, they seem right. I don't know what's in South Africa, but they seem right. The cars and coaches, the storm, which isn't really part of the construction, but you know, I feel like you're maybe missing something. You're missing like some scatter or something, but all in all, the construction of the scene is good if simple. I'm hesitant to give you a 6 because it almost feels too low, but I'm hesitant to give you a 7 because there's just not a lot going on, and you've got this empty space over here that I probably would have filled in. I don't know. I'm gonna give you a 7. I'm being nice, I think. Composition. Again with the... Maybe it should have... If only I had a computer that would run changes, could have joined the screenshot. Symbol is going for Haley. Spurnoff by Jimmy is outrunning the storm. That's actually very clever. That's definitely a bonus point. I really wish there was... This is something I should remember for next time. I should add a second section of the form that's not just the description of the thing, but it's like is there anything else you want to tell me, the person who's going to be judging? Is there anything else you want to tell the judges? Like, oh, I made this asset, or this is symbolism, or, you know, things like that. I feel like there's so much that I've picked up from people talking in the comments, that, or in the chat, rather, that gives me a better picture of what's going on in the picture, and lets me score it better. Anyway, composition. Now the lighting is cool, the background is cool. I don't... Again, maybe it could have been pulled out just a little bit so you get the corner of the station building. But honestly, I'm going to give it a 9. I don't have anything wrong with the composition here. I think it's really pretty. Content. Aside from the fact that these couplers don't seem to line up, I don't have anything wrong with that. Also, the track is a little weird / old. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be an 8 or a 9. I think I'm going to give it an 8, because if I'm on the fence and I went up earlier, being on the fence. So the flex section. Yes, the flex section. Exactly. Story. I really like getting what will happen to these engines. I like getting the back... I like getting the past, present, and future of these engines in the doodly-doo, especially if they're engines that I don't know, which obviously I don't know these engines. So, now, like I said, maybe a little bit too much shortening for what's going on here. I feel like there could have been more description, but I do very much love the fact that Whoops. I do love the fact that you have the brief and then you have the description and the caption and then the description, or sorry, caption and backstory, description and backstory, whatever you want to call it. You have these two distinct sections, which is good, and you're not the only person that's done it, and I like it. Now, so for story, honestly, and maybe this is too generous, but you fit the prompt very well, and you write fairly well, and you've hit all these points. I'm going to give you a 9, and the only reason I'm not giving you a 10, aside from maybe the brevity, is just I feel like these things could flow better. And you have a lot of indents and stuff. I don't know. Steam being released from Clover safety valves is also deliberate. Reference to what happened to the other two. On safety valves, their safety valves become stuck open. It's fun writing up DDD syndrome symptoms. I mean, like, the thing about DD syndrome is it's the one that everybody fixates on, but there are other aspects of other personality issues, other personality disorders that can happen to Boltzmann brains that we just don't talk about very much. And I would love to break them up, and I would love to break it down and write more about it, and maybe when I get to writing the Boltzmann theory of vehicular sentience, I will. World. You're missing the station building. Other than that, this is a 10. And I feel like this is an easy 10. So I'm just going to give you the 10. These people are... I hope you cannot hear the other people in my house. I'm sorry. Now, relevancy. That's also a 10. Easy. That's a 10. Completeness. Let me just make sure... Yeah, it says contest submission, so I'm going to have to give you like a 7. You know what, whatever. I'll give it an 8 because at least it's something. Maybe I'm getting generous towards the end of this competition. Oh, right, I still have one more to do. Now, bonuses. I mean, it's a cool screenshot. I like the double header. I'll give that a bonus point. The fact that these locomotives were either named or given names by you, I'll give that a bonus point. The references to the other screenshots, I know that this isn't going both ways. And just the... I don't know, I feel like everything culminates in 4 bonus points. That's what I think right now. And... Actually, I will give you one more, and this is why. Because you did try to model an asset. You weren't successful, but you did try to get an asset modeled for this. So, let's do the math. 7, 8, 7, 9, 8, 9, 10 plus 10 plus 8 plus 5. That's 81. That's a really good score. 81. Alright, now we have one more. Let's do East real quick. I'm not going to be kind to you. Just kidding. So, delete that, delete the picture, delete all this. Oops. Now, I don't know why your thing didn't appear. I hope you're not bamboozling me. Okay. So, let's delete this. So, we've deleted all the responses. We'll use that again some other day. Now, let's look at this. Sorry, Weibold. CSX 2715 Smith. Oh wait, let's pull open the screenshot. Let's take a look. CSX 2715 Smith works the soon-to-close steel mill by 1 July morning on a sweltering hot day. The man of the tower, John, looks over the mill and accompanying yard and main line, run on, as Smith pulls a short consist of coil cars from the loading area to the yard, ready to be added onto the end of the southbound train. Run on. Off to his right is the old station where workers would be brought to work by the train before cars became the popular option. This is on my Iron Horsemen module, titled The Last Stand. You change that. I like this as a shot from inside. That's a cool one. And I didn't get the chance to like take it in, but I was like, ooh, this is inside. It took me a minute to notice the train. I'm gonna be honest, it took me a minute to notice the train. Where's that? And not Tyler and Doc were there. Well, oh, I remember the original title name. Okay. So let's copy the image and drop it into the judging form. Oops, I hit B instead of V. There we go. Let's grab the, this doodad. I know I missed the period, don't worry about it. Oh gosh darn it. There we go. I just made it normal text format for me. Submission title, The Last Stand by East Rail 11. Okay, so also thank you, Doc, for your submission. So, impact. Now, I'm going to be honest, despite starting in the middle of the, in the tower and being very cool and unique, it did take me a minute to figure out where the train was, so I was like, oh, this is an interesting one. Although, to be fair, I never said there had to be a train in it. So, you know, whatever. Now, here's the thing. Also, OFF. We'll get to the other stuff later, but as for impact, I'm going to give this, like, a 6. It didn't grab me the way some of the other screenshots did. It's interesting, but it didn't quite, you know, pull me in. Creativity. It's a shot from inside a building. It's a shot from inside a building. You've got eras of railroad. You've got, you know, a backstory sort of. I mean, I think this is a comfortable 8 for creativity. I actually quite like this, and I'll give you even a bonus point for doing an interior shot because that's pretty ballsy. Construction, you said you built it in your module, so this wasn't purpose built, but like I said, it didn't have to be. The whole thing. Whoops, we can get rid of that for now, and get rid of this. Yes. The whole thing with the construction thing is just how well built is it, and I mean, I can't really tell from in here. I mean, you got grass down and you've got all this little stuff in here. I assume this was built into the thing though, so this is just an existing interior. I mean, it looks cool. I don't know why this station is where it is. I feel like it'd be over there by the parking lot. Or, you know, by the building, so you don't have to get off in the middle of no man's land. But that's ultimately neither here nor there. So for construction, I think I'll give you a 7, and the reason why is I don't feel like I get to experience much of the construction, even though it seems like it's decent. No, you know what? It stretches all the way around. I'm gonna give it an 8. Let's give you an 8. Composition. Well, I think I have to take points off on this one because if I'm gonna be completely honest, like I said, didn't realize there was a train there at first, and this is from a human's point of view, so that's really cool and interesting, but you took a risk, and I'm not sure how much it paid off, because it's tough to see through the windows. I think I'm going to give it a 6 for composition. Oops. Just, you know. Yeah. Now, as for content, there isn't a lot of content, but this tower is top-notch. The times changed. I don't know what this tower is. I assume it's jointed rail. This is also definitely not what we're looking at, but that's unimportant. So, I mean, everything here seems nice. There isn't anything that jumps out at me as like a crappy asset, except for maybe that station building. I maybe would have gone with something wooden. I don't know. Story. Story. This is interesting. Well, there's one typo anyway. This would have been the kind of thing to be on the, the talking to the judge portion. It isn't JR. Interesting. That was just my guess, because they make nice stuff, you know. I hope you can't hear that. One of their crew shouted at me from, hey, all of a sudden I have a too detailed interior. So, there's two things, right, with the story. Number one, I like that you did give the engines names. What was that? Why do I have a... Who pinged me now? You did give the engines names. Oh, this is what I had done and exported. Oh, the tower actually look... Oh, that's weird. That's interesting. Tower's a locomotive asset. Let's go over here real quick. This is what Doc got done. It's a pretty looking engine. It's cute. Anyway. Okay. It's that asset. You use that asset. Anyway. So, story. There's no characterization of these two here. It's soon to close steel mill. Oh, great, you're sapping me for sadness again. You know, have a bonus point. Have a bonus point. Guilt tripping me. Things that are about to close, an old station, and whatever. But this is an interesting description of the area, but I don't feel like we're getting the characters at all. And so I feel like that's a missed opportunity. I'm gonna give you a 7, which may be more than you... No, I mean, compared to what I've given other people, it's not more than you deserve necessarily, but I feel like you've sort of teased us with characters and done nothing with them. Anyway, as for world, and this is weird, but, you know, whatever. Nice to see that you still upload. Haven't watched your videos since that time when you did your TRS 2006 series, but thanks for the good memories from watching your vids. You're welcome, Ace. Station building is a little weird. I mean, other than that, I don't have anything wrong with the world here. I'm just gonna give it a 9. Maybe that's being too generous. Oh wait, no, 8. So, because they're lacking in the story. Relevancy. Well, you fit the prompt, but you didn't give me any characterization, so I'll give you a 9. You know, just the fact that you gave the engine a name, you know, it's something. I'm gonna knock that down to an 8. I feel like I'm being way too generous with that. Just giving an engine a name shouldn't be enough. All right, completeness. Well, I can't give you a score for this. Yeah, the last stand is a Sabaton reference. You can have a point for that. I can't. What is? Oops. Well, it's CD and Discord. Hey East, be honest with me. What is the file name of this picture? That's the thing that I need to know. My throat hurts so bad. Some like yogurt or something. Something to soothe. Oh wait, I have cough drops right here. Well, I'll DM you the pic, but it isn't named. Well, never mind then. I don't need to know if it's named. I just needed to know that it wasn't. I don't need to know what it was. Whatever. Open the original show in the URL. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Kay. Completeness, I'm going to have to give you a 7. And I'm not adjusting that for not making it in. So let's do the math. 6 plus 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8 plus 7 plus 3. That's 70 points. That's still not bad. So, let's go over everything real quick. In first place is, I think that'd be Tyler's screenshot with 89 points. Another brick in the ward. I think second is, yeah, Ryan's screenshot with 79 points. Third place, let's see, did we have a... Oh wait, no, sorry. Second place was Storms Brewing with 81 points. I should have put these... Yeah, I should definitely put these in order. But those are our top three. You can check out all the screenshots and the scores in the description. I appreciate... We'll just go through top to bottom, and I'll thank everybody. And we will be doing another one of these sometime early next year, probably. I don't know exactly when, but I'm thinking like March, because we've got to do Local Royale Season 3, and we're not going to do these things at the same time. And this has helped me figure out what I want to do. I'll probably come back to this stream and this document, make some edits. Anyway, so Forging Ahead by Rob, 48 points. Moving Out by Ryan, 79 points. More Timely in Baltimore by Ian, Conrail fan. Gotta scroll down. 62 points. CNR Before the IHR, which is actually a nice title. Will be in March before you know it. 73 points. Just Another Brick in the Ward. I would have gone with maybe Another Brick in the Ward. That's 89 points. Remember the Titans, 65 points. I mean, I should have been going over the Remember the Titans by Matt. I got distracted by that commentary. Seen Before the HR by K-Master. Another Brick in the Ward by Tyler. Matt, Storms Roaring by Lurking in the Woods, or Doc. Reminding everyone quick that there's an official Bombs 221 IHR Discord server. Yes, there is. You can find it in the Cargoes of Any Terminus podcast. With 81 points, The Last Stand by East Rail with 70 points. I should have Jimmy's full story done so I can do one of the biggest gut punch. Awesome. Yes, so I would like to thank East. I'd like to thank Doc. I'd like to thank Matt. I'd like to thank Tyler. I'd like to thank K-Master. I'd like to thank Ian. I'd like to thank Ryan. And I'd like to thank Rob for all of your submissions. This was an excellent first screenshot competition. You guys are the people that make this happen. Obviously, I wouldn't have any content otherwise. So, To Rule the World is going through the snow soon. TM. As long as nobody keeps getting sick and I can actually get people over. So, thanks all for tuning in as well. And like I said, all these screenshots are available down in the comments if you want to steal one of them for a cool desktop background. Yeah. We'll see you next time. This is the Admiral, signing off. Whoa.